Now, I don't own any indie games, not because I think indie games are overrated, far from it. If anything, I'm intimidated by the thousands of titles in the genre that have sprung up since the 2010s. To be honest with you, I just don't know where to start. But thanks to one of my friend's game suggestions, I decided to play Death's Door, a 3D isometric adventure that is jam-packed with quality content and gameplay while tackling the most difficult subject matter, death. Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me on today's review, Death's Door. If you liked today's video, help me out with your support by hammering down on that subscribe button, throw me a thumbs up, and in the comments section, tell me what other games you would like me to review. And with that, let's get into today's video. In Death's Door, you play as a young crow who is part of an organization called the Reaping Commission Headquarters, whose leader is the Lord of Doors. You're a fresh-faced reaper that's been called into the office for an assignment to bring in a giant soul. Oh geez, where was this on training day? Something that has become mysteriously rare as the years have gone by. You're reminded that while hunting your assigned soul, you're mortal, and the door that brings you into the living world will remain open. If you fail to bring in your assigned soul, that door will remain open and you will be cursed with mortality. Battling your way through the tutorial level, you successfully take down your assignment. Just as you're about to collect your soul, another portal opens behind you. A former Reaper named Grey Crow sabotages you and steals your bounty and sacrifices your assigned soul to the fabled legend Death's Door. Grey's plan was to use the power of the soul to open Death's Door and capture the target that evaded him when he was a much younger Reaper many years ago. Grey explains that the only way to successfully open Death's Door is to collect 3 grand souls from powerful figures that have long outlived their natural lifespans. The Witch of Urns, Grandma, the Frog King, or more commonly known as and the most debatably beautiful, Betty. Playing as your Reaper feels great, and it's easy to tell that tight, responsive controls were a main focal point in Death's Door. Apart from light puzzle solving and platforming, your Reaper is mostly in crowded, combative situations. This forces you to develop an aggressive fighting style to get in close, strike 1 or 2 times, then roll away. The combat feels good, and after you defeat the last enemy in a wave, it is so satisfying. There's nothing better than getting in a cinematic finisher. Enemy types are interesting and change up the combative playstyle before things get too old in every area. No boss encounter feels exactly the same, and in my playthrough, definitely had to change my tactics 1 or 2 times. The difficulty level is decently challenging. Nothing that I found too frustrating, to be honest. There's a learning curve to be sure, but it's not like you lose the souls you collected, like in Dark Souls or Elden Ring. Exploration is a strong factor in this game, and the developers made sure that while you were in a dungeon to see various collectibles that were just out of your reach. This meant you either had to find a secret path, or like Metroid, obtain an unlockable item to unblock a path or carry you across a chasm. Taking the time to immerse yourself in the environment pays off as you can find sacred shrines and other weapons. There are 2 types of sacred shrines, one for your health and the other for your magic meter. Every 4 shrines you make it a prayer, your health or magic goes up by 1. The other weapons you can collect have different stats from the base sword and might be better suited for your playstyle. As an example, you can equip the small daggers. They have a weaker damage output and a much shorter range, but that's balanced out with a much faster swing time and a longer chain of strikes. From my personal experience, sometimes one weapon works better with one enemy type or boss than the other, but it's clear that you could go the whole game without using any other weapon. As you travel and fight through dungeons and worlds, your Reaper collects souls from the enemies you conquer. You want to collect as many of these souls as you can to upgrade your Reaper's base stats back in the Hall of Doors, just to give you the slightest edge. You might not notice after leveling your Reaper stats once or twice, but by the end, you're a tank. Dungeons are split into 2 sections. The first half entails puzzle solving and small combat encounters down 4 different paths. At the end of each path are stranded souls of deceased Reapers that were tragically trapped in the fortresses of the main bosses. Once all 4 souls are saved, a special door is powered where your Reaper can enter and be given a new spell to expand its repertoire. Apart from your bow, you can shoot fire, throw bombs, and hookshot to enemies or traverse to areas you couldn't reach before. You can even upgrade those abilities in secret battles against silent guardians. In the second half of each dungeon, your Reaper, now decked out with the new spell, storms the HQ of the Grand Soul Holder. At the end, your Reaper faces off against the main boss of the dungeon, and you make your way to the next kingdom. Now, if you want to avoid spoilers, now is your chance, because I can't say I could do this video in good conscience without explaining the whole story. So skip ahead to this time for a spoiler-free review. As you collect each Grand Soul, it becomes more and more apparent that the higher-ups at the Reaping Commission headquarters were behind the abrupt halt in soul energy collection and marooning those poor Reapers that perished in the dungeons. And the culprit behind this conspiracy? The Lord of Doors himself. By creating Death's Door, the Lord of Doors trapped Death in the realm beyond the door and to halt his aging, allowing him to live forever. Taking on the Lord of Doors, you transport from the areas you explored from before, and he uses attacks from your previous boss encounters. Nothing too crazy, and nothing your Reaper hasn't seen before. You defeat the Lord of Doors and move all the crows from the commission to the outside world at the free camp to live out your life. After beating the final boss of Death's Door, my total playtime was about 8 hours. And there's even endgame content where you can fight a secret boss. As of this recording, I'm still playing to discover the remaining secrets of Death's Door. If you asked me to describe what Death's Door is like, I would say it's pretty similar to an intricate wristwatch. Small but compact and thick with many moving and precise parts. Strong combat, exploration, upgrades, storytelling, characters, and humor entwine perfectly to create Death's Door's identity. It's clear that it draws inspiration from franchises like Legend of Zelda, Metroid, and somehow even Super Mario Sunshine. But it's able to poke fun at those sources with its humor and comedy. There were multiple times that I found myself laughing out loud from dialogue of these characters and encounters. But even all the times I laughed, Death's Door has many serious moments. For instance, after you defeat each major boss, they're given a funeral led by the gravekeeper, Stedhone. Each of the bosses had a tragic story that transformed them into the twisted and rotten souls that were far from the good-willed person they used to be. By fighting the natural cycle of life, they winded up hurting their own subjects and their loved ones. At the end of the day, their death was a necessary tragedy to continue the cycle of life. It's a story to remind you that death is natural, inevitable, and that's okay. So everyone, with that in mind, I give Death's Door a 9 out of 10. Everyone, thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. Check out my other reviews and be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me what you thought about Death's Door and any other game you think I should try next. My name is BirKey, and see what is in my corner next time.